Development of infants and toddlers. In this topic, we trace the physical development that you have gone through as infants and toddlers and identify the factors that enhance the physical development of infants and toddlers. As we see in this picture, the infants and toddlers are the baby that a very young child that can neither walk or talk in an early stage of development, just the beginning. Toddlers, a young child who is learning to walk. Cephalocaudal and proximodistal patterns. Cephalocaudal size, weight, and feature differentiation gradually work from top to bottom. Proximodistal growth starts at center of body and moves toward extremities. Physical developments of height and weight. It's normal for newborn babies to drop 5 to 10% of their baby's weight within a couple of weeks of birth due to the baby's adjustment. Brain development. At birth, the newborn's brain is about 25% of its adult weight. By the second birthday, the brain is about 75% of its adult weight. Shortly after birth, a baby's brain produces trillions more connections between neurons that it can possibly use. The brain eliminates connections that are seldom or never used. The infant's brain is literally waiting for experiences to determine how connections are made. Among the most dramatic changes in the brain in the first 2 years of life are the spreading connections of dendrites to each other, the process by which the axons are covered and insulated by layers of fat cells begins prenatally and continues after birth. The process of myelination or myelinization increases the speed at which information travels through the nervous system. Motor development. Along this aspect of motor development, infants and toddlers begin from the reflexes to gross motor skills and fine motor skills. Reflexes. The newborn has some basic reflexes which are, of course, automatic and serve as survival mechanisms before they have the opportunity to learn many reflexes which are present at birth will generally subside within a few months as the baby grows and matures. Common reflexes. Sucking reflex. The sucking reflexes is initiated when something touches the roof of an infant's mouth. Infants have a strong sucking reflex which helps to ensure they can latch onto bottle or breast. The sucking reflex is very strong in some infants and they may need to suck on a pacifier for comfort. Rooting reflex. The rooting reflex is most evident when an infant's cheek is stroked. The baby responds by turning his or her head in the direction of the touch and opening their mouth for feeding. Gross motor skill. It is always a source of excitement for parents to witness dramatic changes in the infant's first year of life. This dramatic motor development is shown in babies unable to even lift their heads to being able to grab things off the cabinet, to chase the ball, and to walk away from parents. Fine motor skill are skills that involve a refined use of the small muscles controlling the hand, finger, and thumb. The development of these skills allows one to be able to complete tasks such as writing, drawing, and buttoning. The ability to exhibit fine motor skills involve activities that involve precise eye-hand coordination. The development of reaching and grasping becomes more refined during the first 2 years of life. Initially, infants show only crude shoulders and elbows movements, but later they show wrist movements, hand rotation, and coordination of thumb and forefinger. Sensory and perceptual development. The newborn senses the world into which he or she is born through his or her senses of vision, hearing, touch, taste, and smell. As he or she advances physically, his or her sensory and perceptual abilities also develop. Research findings regarding newborn's visual perception. The newborn's vision is about 10 to 30 minutes lower than normal adult vision. By 6 months of age, vision becomes better, and by the first birthday, the infant's vision approximates that of an adult. Infants look at different things for different lengths of time. In an experiment conducted by Robert Pants, 1963, cited by Santruk, 2002, it was found out that infants preferred to look at patterns such as faces and concentric circles rather than at color or brightness. Based on these results, it is likely that pattern perception has an innate basis among the first few things that babies learn to recognize in their mother's face as mother feeds and nurses them. Can newborn hear? The sense of hearing in an infant develops much more the birth of the baby. When in the womb, the baby hears his or her mother's heartbeats and grumbling of his or her stomach, the mother's voice and music. Infant sensory thresholds are somewhat higher than those of adults, which means that a stimulus must be louder to be heard by the newborn than by an adult. Can newborns differentiate odors? In an experiment conducted by McFarlane, 1975, young infants who were breastfed showed a clear preference for smelling their mother's breast pad when the babies were only 2 days old. This shows that it requires several days of experience to recognize their mother's breast pad odor. Can newborns feel pain? Do they respond to touch? They do feel pain. Newborn males shows a higher level of cortisol, an indicator of stress, after circumcision than prior to the surgery. Babies respond to touch the newborn automatically. Such an object placed in his or her head toward the side that was touched in an apparent effort to define something to suck. Can newborns distinguish the different taste tests? In a study conducted with babies, only 2-year-old babies made different facial expressions when they tasted sweet, sour, and bitter solutions. When saccharin was added to the amniotic fluid of a near-term fetus, increased swallowing was observed. This indicates that sensitivity to taste might be present before birth. Do infants relate information through several senses, or are infants capable of intermodal perception? Intermodal perception is the ability to relate, connect, and integrate information about two or more sensory modalities such as vision and hearing. In the study conducted by Spelk and Ousley, 1979, it was found out that as early as at 3.5 months old, infants look, heard her voice, and longer at their father when they also heard his voice. This capacity of intermodal perception, or ability to connect information coming through various modes, gets sharpened considerably through experience. What infants and toddlers can do physically. Physical health standard 1. The children demonstrate adequate growth, weight, height, head circumference. Standard 2. The child has adequate sensory systems to participate in daily activities. 0 to 6 months. Startles to loud sounds. Visually follows a moving object from side to side. Visually follows a moving object up and down. Reacts to pain by crying. Withdraws or reacts with surprise when it contact with something cold. Reacts with pleasure, smiles, or relaxed expression when he or she tastes something delicious. Reacts by making a face, frowns, grimace when he or she tastes something he or she does not like. 7 to 12 months. Reacts with pleasure when he or she smells something nice. Reacts by making a face when he or she smells something foul. Standard 3. The child has adequate stamina to participate daily activities. Pushes and or pulls moderately heavy objects. Example, chair or large boxes. Walks without tiring easily. 13 to 18 months. Play without tiring easily, able to keep pace with playmates. Participates actively in games, outdoor play, and other exercises. 19 to 24 months. Sustains physical activities. The examples are dancing, outdoor games, swimming for at least 3 to 5 minutes. Motor skills development for motor gross skills. Standard 1. The child shows control in coordination of body movements involving large muscles groups. 0 to 6 months. Holds head ste- steadily moves arms and legs equally to reach and dangling object, rolls over, bounces when held standing briefly, bearing weight on legs, sits with support, stating to crawl, but not yet very good at this. 7 to 12 months. Sits steadily without support, creeps or crawls with ease as a primary means of moving around, stands without support, stands from a sitting position without any help, squats from standing position with ease, stands from standing position with ease, bends over easily without falling, stands from a bent position without falling, walks sideways by holding onto the sides of crib or furniture, walks with one hand held. 13 to 18 months. Walks without support, walks backward, walks up the stairs with hand held 2 feet on each step, walks downstairs with hand held 2 feet on each step, jumps in place, climbs onto a steady elevated surface, kicks a ball but with little control of direction, throws a ball but with little control of direction, throws a ball but with a little control of speed, runs without tripping or falling, maintains balance, moves with music when he hears it, can move body to imitate familiar animals, can move body to imitate another person's or TV character. 19 to 24 months. Walks up the stairs with alternating feet without help. Walks down the stairs with alternating feet without help, kicks a ball with a control of direction, throws a ball with control of direction, throws a ball with control of speed. Motor skills development. Fine motor skills. Standard 1. The child can control and coordinate hand and finger movements. 0 to 6 months. Hands open most of the time. Bring both hands together towards dangling object or toys. Uses either hand interchangeably to grasp object. Uses all 5 fingers in a ranking motion to get food or toy placed on a flat surface. Grabs objects with the same hand most of the time. 7 to 12 months. Pulls toys by string. Bangs 2 large blocks together. Picks up objects with thumb and index fingers. Grabs and transfer objects from hand to hand and grabs objects with the same hand all the time. Definite hand preference established. 13 to 18 months. Puts small objects in or out of container. Unscrew lids. Unwraps candy or food. Holds stick, pencil or crayons with palmar grip. 19 to 24 months. Color with strokes going out of the lines. Personal care and hygiene. Standard 1. The child participates in basic personal care routines 0 to 6 months. Sucks and swallows milk from breast or bottle. Begins to take complementary to semi-solid foods by the End of 5 months. Keeps reasonably still while being dressed and bathed and while diaper is being changed. 7 to 12 months. Holds feeding bottle by himself. Helps hold cup for drinking. Chews solid foods well. Feeds self with finger foods and scoops with a spoon with spillage. 13 to 18 months. Feeds self with assistance. Feeds self using fingers to eat rice. Banyans with spillage. Feeds self using spoon with spillage. No longer drinks from feeding bottle. Drinks from cup unassisted. Participates when being dressed by lifting arms and raising legs. Pulls down gartered short pants, underpants or panties. Removes shoes and sandals. Informs caregiver of the need to move his bowels so he or she can be brought to comfort room. Takes a bath with assistance, brushes teeth after meals with assistance from adult, washes and dries hands under adult supervision, washes and dries face with the assistance of an adult. 19 to 24 months. Gets drink for herself unassisted, removes loose sando, removes sacks, informs caregiver of the need to urinate so he or she can be brought the comfort room, goes to the designated place to urinate but sometimes wets his or her pants, goes to the designated place to move his or her bowels but sometimes still soils his or her pants, goes to the designated place to move his or her bowels but needs help with wiping and washing, brushes teeth after meals with adult supervision and washes and dry space under adult supervision. Language. Expresses language. The child is able to use words and gestures to express his thoughts and feelings. 0 to 6 months. Makes gurgling, cawing, babbling, or other vocal sounds. Uses gestures. Example, stretching his or her arms, pointing, to indicate he or she wants. 7 to 12 months. Repeat sounds produced by others. Says meaningful words like papa, mama to refer to specific persons. Uses animal sound to identify animals. Uses environmental sounds to identify objects or events in the environment. 13 to 18 months. Speaks in single words. Says yes and no appropriately. Uses words accompanied by gestures to indicate what he or she wants. Respond to simple question with single words. 19 to 24 months. Uses pronouns. Uses possessive pronouns. Says what he or she wants without accompanying this with gestures. Attempts to converse even if he cannot be clearly understood. Pre-reading and pre-math. Standard 1. The child is able to match identical objects, colors, shapes, and symbols. 7 to 12 months. Able to match two identical objects. 19 to 24 months. Matches identical objects and matches identical pictures.